Welcome to the Turabian Formatting 9th Edition Basics, presented by the Regent University Writing Lab. This presentation will give an overview of Turabian's general formatting requirements, citation guidelines, and bibliography entries. In this video, you will learn how to cite your sources using the Notes bibliography style, which is preferred over the author date style at Regent. Here's a brief disclaimer. Your professor has the final word on all style manual requirements for the class. The policy of the University Writing Lab is to refer students to their professor, their course syllabus, and their style manual. The margins within class papers should be set for 1 inch on the left, right, top, and bottom of the page. For doctoral students composing a dissertation, the margin should be set for 1.5 inches on the left side and 1 inch for all other sides. The font style should be either Times New Roman or Arial, and be set in the color black. Line spacing in a Turabian formatted paper is as follows: double-spaced in the body of the paper, single-spaced in any block quotations, table titles, figure captions, and lists and appendices. You should also single-space with blank lines between items within the table of contents, list of figures, tables or abbreviations, all footnotes and endnotes, and within the bibliography or reference list. There are 2 specific ways to cite sources in Turabian: the author date style and the notes bibliography style. The author date style uses parenthetical, in-text citations that include the author or authors, last name, year of publication, and page number, if citing a direct quotation, and a full page of reference entries called a references page. The notes bibliography style uses footnotes within the body of the text, such as superscript numbers at the end of the cited sentence, and a full page of entries called a bibliography page. For both styles, only sources contained in the body of the text appear on the references or bibliography page, and only entries on the references or bibliography page are cited in the body of the text. Regent's local guidelines indicate that notes bibliography style is preferred over the author date style. This means that most of your professors will prefer that you use the footnotes bibliography way to cite sources. According to Turabian, only source citation information should be contained in a footnote. Relevant added information that the writer would like to include for the reader should either be incorporated into the text or should be included in an endnote, which appears at the end of the document. If you are ever unsure which style to use, contact your professor to confirm. Here is an example of what footnote citations look like in a document. Notice that the footnote, number 5, appears in superscript next to the cited sentence, and at the bottom of the page, the same number appears below an inserted line. If composing your paper in Microsoft Word, you should use Word's option for inserting footnotes. You can view our other Turabian tutorial videos to learn how to do this. When citing a source for the first time within your document, you will need to include a full footnote, which includes the following general pieces of information: the first name and last name of the author in that order, the title of the work, publication information in parentheses, including the place of publication, both the city and the state, the publisher's name, and the year of publication in that order. And lastly, add the location information, such as a page number or website URL. The exact pieces that are included in the full footnote vary according to the type of source that you are using. The general categories of information stay the same. All of this information is only needed in the first footnote. Any subsequent footnotes will use shortened versions. Shortened footnotes are used after citing the same source one full time in the document. Shortened notes contain the author's last name, followed by a comma and the page number. Additionally, you can use IBID, IBID period, to indicate that you are citing the same source that you used in the preceding footnote. IBID is Latin for in the same place. Therefore, you can only use IBID to cite the same source 2 or more times in a row. You cannot start a new page with an IBID footnote, as there are no footnotes preceding it in that case. In Turabian formatting style, scripture is only cited in the paper, but not included on the bibliography page. To cite the Bible, include the book, chapter, and verse. Make sure to abbreviate the titles of books when necessary. Notice the version or translation you are using appears in parentheses after the scripture information. You should spell out this version or translation when you first use it. If you're only using one translation or version, you do not need to include this information in subsequent footnotes. However, if you are using more than one translation or version, each version must be spelled out when you use it for the first time, and then use abbreviations in parentheses for every subsequent footnote. This helps the reader know exactly which translation the cited scripture came from if more than one version is used. According to Turabian format, block quotes are longer direct quotes from cited material that exceed 5 or more lines of text. Block quotes should be formatted differently than shorter quotes in your paper. Start a new line and indent the entire block quote by 1/2 inch on the left side only. The quote should be single-spaced and should not include double quotation marks. Finally, a footnote number should still be included at the end of the sentence. Block quotes should be used sparingly. You should only include a quote of this length if you plan to refer back to this specific quote several times throughout the paper. Most often, students use block quotes for exegetical papers or literary analyses since they are spending a significant portion of their paper dissecting specific quotes from an original text. When deciding whether to paraphrase, summarize, or directly quote source material, you should consider the reasons for wanting to provide the exact words of the author you are citing. Using the source's direct words can be useful, especially when establishing your credibility as a writer in your field. As a general rule, you should paraphrase and/or summarize more frequently than you use direct quotes from a source. Paraphrasing inherently makes your writing more concise and demonstrates a stronger writing voice. Finally, the bibliography page of your paper should appear on its own separate page immediately following your last page of text. It should be titled Bibliography and appears centered and bolded if using the note's bibliography citation style. There should be 2 blank, double-spaced lines between the title and the first bibliography entry. All entries in the bibliography should be alphabetized according to the last name of the first author. Notice, the names are listed according to the following order: last name, then first name, or initials if given, followed by the title of the work, journal information if applicable, publication information, and retrieval information, such as website URLs. Although most of the same information included in the entry is also included in a full footnote within the text of the document, you cannot simply copy and paste the full footnote into the bibliography page. The order of the names is reversed, and additional information, such as database information for dissertations, is needed in the bibliography entry that does not appear in the footnote. Finally, you need to use a hanging indent to arrange each entry. With a hanging indent, the first line of the entry appears flush against the left margin, and every line associated with the entry is indented to the right by an extra 1/2 inch. Bibliography entries, such as footnote entries, are single-spaced with an extra space in between entries. Thank you for taking the time to learn about Turabian formatting and for making the most out of your Regent experience.